I was ruling on the roost and I had all the chicks to myself. And suddenly it happened, this funny little feeling I felt. I tried to outrun it, but it finally caught up with me. Tell me, how can you run for something you just can't see? Well, hey friends, how's it going out there in YouTube land? You know, wherever you may be, across the world, in some country I've never heard of. Lithuania, Zimbabwe, Norway. Hi guys, it's 4th of July, and I wanted to say happy 4th of July to all of you that give a shit. There was a day when the United States got their independence, you know, a couple 250 years ago, something like that. And boy, we've been running with it ever since we got it, haven't we? I know I have. Freedom, man. Freedom isn't free. There's a hefty fucking fee. Anyway, hope everybody's doing great. We're about to get in the pool, me and the boys. We're gonna have a good time. I've got plenty of grillables. Although every 4th of July we get together over at their dear beloved mother's house, my dear beloved ex-wife. We'll be doing that later. Hey, I got some questions in the VCB, but I got to put on these silly Walmart reader glasses to look at them. I look like an old man. I'm already an old man. I lost my real glasses. I left them at a gig, which sucks. I got to get some new glasses. That's what I'm doing next. I got a lot of VCB today. VCB stands for Viewer Comment Bin. I made that up a long time ago. The kind of Letterman kind of thing that I was going for. He would always do stuff like that back when I used to watch that show many years ago. Let's see. Right. Hey, Tom, do you change your picks and pick orientation depending on what you're doing? Oh, man. Yes, absolutely. You know what I was thinking about the other day when I was playing? I was doing something and I thought, man, I should tell the homeschoolers. Most of the time when I'm doing shit, you would not believe how lightly I hold the pick. I mean, I am barely holding. It's about as little tension as you could possibly have and still maintain it in your hands. Like when I'm doing this stuff, like in yesterday's video, I am holding it so lightly. I mean, you could just knock it out of my hands or just touch it. I think that's for touch, you know. Like even then, like. Barely holding it. There's really never a moment when I'm squeezing the pick tightly. I barely hold it. Remember, I saw Jack Pearson play 100 years ago. And I walked up to him after the gig. This is so long ago. It was 30 years ago. And I was like, man, killer slide playing. He was like, thank you, man. And I said, it looks like you're barely playing the guitar. He goes, man, I'm holding that slide so light you could just knock it right out of my hand. And that's the key, I think. Playing super soft, light, everything's loose. You can still have power, though. Fun to listen to, isn't it? That shit. Chicks love that. Man, I want to say thanks again. I won't go off. I know I've been talking about the course too much lately. It's going really well. And thank you guys. Man, some of these, there's a couple comments here I want to read regarding that, and I really appreciate it. Let's go to another VCB. Hey, Uncle Larry, what's your stance on Blues Junior amps? I've never seen you playing one. I use one with a DeVille in my stereo rig. You know, back when I was a young man and I had very little income, I used to play, I had 2 Fender Blues Juniors, I remember. No, they were Pro Juniors. Pro Juniors, that's the ones I had. I preferred those to the Blues Junior. I thought I was somebody, man. I really did. I thought I was somebody with those, and they sounded cool. They were noisy, though. God, I remember them being real noisy. They had like a nasty ground hum you couldn't get rid of. And then when I was really poor, on my first couple gigs, I used to play through a hammered Tweed 410 Blues DeVille with a tube screamer. Man, I hated it. It was the best I could do at the time, but I knew there was a lot better shit out there. I remember one time I spilled a drink in that Blues DeVille, and nobody could fix it except this guy named Terry Newton. He could fix it. And that's when I realized that those modern Fenders are basically made out of cell phone parts. That's basically what it is. And then I went back to the old shit because it's like old cars. It's easier to work on. It's just overall better. I'm just saying. Here's another thing. Let's get to some more shit. I saw that on different pedal boards you use the Boss GE7, sometimes pre-gain, sometimes post-gain. Is it for live or studio? Can you explain why? Honestly, I have no idea. It doesn't matter where you put the EQ. It doesn't matter. You can put it anywhere. So I don't even know where they are on my boards. I just put them somewhere in the middle. That's what I do. I'm not precious about that. It does whatever it does. It's good. I'm only worried about the order of certain pedals. I'll tell you what I am picky about. I don't really care where the pedals go, as long as the trail stuff's at the end. And the thing is, you gotta have your fucking overdrives pre-volume pedal. Man, that pisses me off when it's the other way around. Oh man, I hate that. That's important. Think about that. One guy said, Will Calmer, watching my parents' house and dogs with nothing to do except watch the course and hang in the pool. Damn good 3-day weekend. Thanks, Uncle. Sounds damn good to me, buddy. I think you're on the right track there. Another guy said, Tom, the course is incredible. I'm only a few videos in and it's all gold. You've changed my life on this instrument. Love your work, mate. I appreciate that. I got a lot of those types of comments, and man, I really appreciate it, man. I'm so glad, as I've said, you guys dig it. You know, my Catholic guilt and all my worrying and my mother's influence on me, she worried about everything. I was worried, what if they don't like it? I'm so glad to see you guys like it. I put a lot of fucking work into that, kids. So did Brett. We busted our ass on that. Let's see. My guy said, man, imagine having right-hand pocket like Tom. That's my current goal. Hey, that's all there is to guitar, friends. This is all that matters, man. I was telling Marshall last night, we're sitting on the couch, and I taught him the riff from Foo Fighters' Everlong. He loves that, and he's playing it, and he's doing it, and he's got the chorus feeling right. All the downstrokes, it's got the groove and the dance. And I said to him, I go, bro, you got it, man. You got, you know. And you got to do the drop D thing and everything for that song. But and he's doing it, man. He's got it feeling right. And I said, dude, that is all that matters, man. You got to get the people fucking dancing. This right-hand pocket, it doesn't fucking matter what you do over here. When this shit's right, and it's grooving, that's all that matters. It's all that matters, man. It's everything is that pocket. And There is no faster way to win over any fellow musician. I don't care what instrument they're playing. First time you play with somebody, if you're worried, I wonder if this drummer's gonna like me, or some famous drummer or something, just start playing the simplest thing in the world, but make it fucking groove like a motherfucker. And everyone's like, I love that guy. Instantly. They're just like, yes, bro. If you can play just the simplest thing, man, it doesn't matter what it is. You could just be anything. Just do that in the headphones. And the drummer's like putting his shit together, and he's all of a sudden he's like playing along with you. And when that's over and you go to get your coffee before you listen to the first chart, dude's like, yeah, man, killer. You don't have to play a bunch of licks and shit like that. Just fucking play something that feels good. 2 chords back and forth, grooving like a motherfucker, and everybody loves you. I'm telling you, man, it's all that matters. Right hand pocket, the groove. It's everything. I don't care what fucking instrument you're playing or who you're playing it with. Have I not stressed that enough? God, I hope I have. Another guy said, hey, Tom, you like these Walmart readers? A guy said, hey, Tom, I was just watching a video of you playing with Joe Walsh back in 2017. Joe was playing what looked like a deluxe reverb and a Dr. Z. What were you using as amplifiers? I remember Joe used to have fucking different amps every gig. I remember at the rehearsals, they were bringing in 2 different amps every 15 minutes for him to try. And then in the gig, it seemed like he had different amps every night. I don't know what he was using. But I'll tell you what, it always sounded like him, no matter what he was playing. I remember I had a black deluxe reverb. No, I think I had a 68 early drip edge deluxe reverb. That was a cool amp. I should have never got rid of that. And I had a Tweed Deluxe. And then I had an Ebo, one of Ebo's amps in the middle as a personal monitor, just for the reverb. It wasn't in the house. I remember I had the 2 amps on the end went to the house, and the Evo was just for me. And I remember Joe was so picky about the volume. He hated it if you were too loud, and he hated it if you were too soft. Like, you had to be right in the range where he could hear you, but if it was too loud, he hated it. I remember him saying, you're killing me on Rocky Mountain Way. And then he's like, the next night, I can't hear you. It's like, never know what, so he goes, it sounds like this, I remember. And then I realized the amps were pointed at me, like angled, pointed at me. And then the next night I pointed them out where they were like pointed more towards him. And he was like, man, it's great. I can hear you perfect. And I realized that he was only hearing the sides of the amps, and it was too dark to him, And then once we sorted that out, it was great. But yeah, I was, any gig like that. If you can't, Tweed Deluxe and a Black Deluxe, if that's not loud enough, you don't want to be on that gig. Especially when you got killer monitors. Like, we had the best fucking monitors in the world. We had these side fills that sounded like God's stereo system. Like you were literally standing in the middle of the best stereo system in the world, just playing. You could hear the keyboards, the vocals, everything perfectly. It was amazing. I don't know why more people don't use those fucking bitchin' side fills on gigs like that. It's so awesome. It takes the room out of the equation. When you got the side fills just surrounding you, it doesn't matter what fucking room you're playing in. It always sounds great. I remember thinking that why doesn't everybody do this? Joe gets that. He understands that. Okay, so there's a couple more. I promise. Let's see. I know there's one more. Oh, Jimmy from Brooklyn. He said, best $200 I ever spent. Dude, I appreciate it, man. I was thinking about that in terms of I pinned a comment. You guys probably saw it. I was like, when I was a kid, there was fucking nothing available. I mean, you had these shit ass Starlicks 8 VHS if you could find one, and they were terrible quality, and they were so cheesy. Like even the best guys, they were just the dumbest videos. There was no YouTube. There was all you could do is like learn from your friends or learn from someone you knew, or you could listen to records and try to put the needle back and try to figure out what they were doing. That's all I could do. If someone would have given me the opportunity to have something like that 8-hour fucking course I just released of a player that I loved when I was a kid for $200, I would have paid $2,000. I mean, you're getting fucking 8 hours of tabbed out shit from multiple high def camera angles. If you can't learn something from that, assuming you like the player, then you got problems. I mean, I still got people bitching about these free videos here, like, I can't see your hands. It's like, what do you mean you can't see my fucking hands? Like, they don't like the angle. Like, you can't see that's a C chord? You fucking blind? Like I said, sometimes free just isn't cheap enough. But overall, I'm in a pretty damn good mood. I think I'm happier now in the last year or so than I've ever been. Honestly, I've even had bouts of short blasts of true inner peace, which I've never had in my life. It's always been an absolute carnival of pain in there. But man, I swear, man, like the kids and life and just sort of the clarity that your mid-50s brings to you. I swear, I have been on this planet so long now, and I have seen so much shit that I feel like I can see around corners. I already know what people are going to say before they even say it. I swear to God. Like, I have seen the patterns. I have studied. Like, I know there's still a lot more wisdom to gain, but I do love, I mean, people bitch about getting older and shit, but I do love the clarity that you get, man. The wisdom. Like, I know what's going on. I can read a fucking room. I can tell how people are really feeling, and I know what's happening. And man, I didn't have any of that in my 20s, man. I was like a fucking, just like a, what are those animals that burrow under the ground that are blind? That's how I felt most of my 20s, 30s. I mean, just, 50s is pretty cool. Unless you're a real early bloomer, which I wasn't. Some people probably have the clarity that I have now in their 20s. I would imagine if you had really smart parents that taught you a bunch of shit. My mom loved me, but she wasn't what you'd call a great teacher. I learned everything the hard way. It took forever, but I'd say you never forget those lessons. You get burned. I'm gonna say one last thing. I'm gonna let go. Hang on. I'm gonna put this fucking badass 64 J200 down. It's King of the Flat Tops. I like to call it SJ200 because that's really what it's called. I'll tell you this, man. There's an old video on YouTube of George Jones doing Love Bug live with Johnny Paycheck behind him playing bass and singing high harmony. It's fucking great. I probably showed it to you guys before. I bet I've probably posted it, but I don't remember. But man, there's a guy playing one of these old Ricky Capris in there, and he's got it tuned way down to A, like a baritone, and it sounds insane. So it got me thinking, why don't I ever try tuning these Rickenbackers down, I've got two great old Rickenbackers. And I started doing that recently, and fuck, man, it sounds so cool. I mean, like, I gotta tell you, man, we did 28 songs at Vince's, and I used those two Rickenbackers on a large majority of the shit. You know, there's a million fucking great guitars. I mean, you know, like literally right next to me, I had my choice of, you know, a dozen bursts, 50s Les Pauls over there, which are great. You know, I love, you know how much I love them. But all the other guys were playing that shit. And I needed something that was different, that was gonna have a unique quirk. And these are fucking great. When you cut those caps off the bridge pickup, which you have to do, these are useless until you cut the cap off the bridge pickup. I promise you. But when you do that, they sound great. And then especially if you start tuning them down, man, the clarity and the boing and the low end is insane. I did a lot of songs where it was like drop D, but down a whole step, so there was a low C. I think it's still here, like this. And through the amp, with the right shit on it, it sounded incredible. And I noticed too, like Vince's studio it's an old house, and there's usually can't use single coils over there because it's so noisy, right? Some studios are really noisy with single coils, so you got to be careful. There's a lot of amp noise if you try to use a fucking, you know, Telly or Strat or something. But I noticed, even though I know these are, you know, these are not humbuckers on here. At least I don't think they are. I always assumed that toaster tops were. Maybe I'm wrong. It's one pickup I don't quite know for sure, 100%. I don't think they're humbuckers. Am I wrong? I don't know. But man, I noticed there wasn't any noise. They were a lot less noisy than a Stratocaster or a Telecaster in that room. And it sounded great. And man, I was like loving it. And so was everybody else. The engineer was like, damn, these are like star of the show. These are old Rickenbackers. And I'm like, yeah, man. And I got the idea from a George Jones video. There you go, friends. 22 minutes of horse shit. Is that enough for you? Happy 4th of July. Hope everybody's doing great out there. Don't burn yourself on the grill. Don't blow your fucking fingers off. What else? That's it. Peace out, y'all. Bye-bye.